Time to open the suspension kit. It's an IRONMAN suspension kit from West Coast Off-Road.
The next phase to my Navara build, having wrapped aligned, was a lift kit. Now I'd been looking into and saving since the first day I got the truck, as I wanted to fit a full suspension lift that could handle my workloads, tougher terrain if I take it off-road, and ensure that it could handle the future modifications I intend to add later, like bull bars etc. West Coast Off-Road took all of my plans into consideration when building the lift kit, supplying heavy-duty 5-in-1 rear leaf springs to handle the extra weight I'd carry when touring, or working, and would also lift the rear 2 inches. Another valid option if you wish to stay with stock leafs rather than fork out on ones like these are extended shackles that raise the rear, although I wanted the high load rate that these springs also offer. The kit came with nitro gas shocks all around, which are high performance and utilise a mixture of gas to ensure the shocks cool as efficiently as possible, therefore releasing energy under use whilst lasting a lot longer than traditional and more conventional ones. The heavy duty front coils were pre-assembled and the kit came with greasable rear shackles, poly bushes from Super Pro and the relevant fitting instructions. Flicking through these whilst unpacking had me raring to get on, so I made a call to a good mechanic friend Tom to ask for his help and expertise.
So guys, my new tyres have arrived. And the new rims. It's an exciting day. We're going to get balance now.
The tyres and rims that had just arrived from Tyres Direct were Maxxi's Bighorn 764s in the 265 75 17 size, or 32-inch diameter. These were to be fitted to the steel modular ET-12 rims, meaning they have a negative offset, resulting in a wider tyre stance without the useful wheel spacers, which can be dangerous if used off-road, but nevertheless are commonly used as a modification. Steel wheels also mean that any mishaps off-road can be rectified with a lump hammer if needed, and the risk of splitting an expensive alloy is out of the window too. The home tyre chap started to get to work efficiently mounting the tyres onto the new rims, taking every precaution to protect the paintwork and edges. It was a pleasure to watch and see the tyres start to become ready for the final mount onto the truck, and it was exciting. They were huge, far bigger than my 255 65 17 all-terrains that I had currently. This was again another reason for the lift kit. It would give more space above the wheels for full articulation without the new and now larger tyres scrubbing in the wheel arches. I'd chosen to book Home Tyre to come to my house and fit the tyres to the wheels, while a good friend Tom came and installed the lift kit, as well as the new rear axle. My rear differential had started to make a knocking noise on most takeoffs when driving, and being a suspected pinion failure, it was far more expensive to repair than getting an axle from a Navara breakers specialist, Thornton Breakers. The axle had been delivered with the aircon system also from a 2007 Navara that I'd got retrofitted to the truck, as this one didn't have it from factory, although the loom connections were available to tap into.
So guys, as you can see, there's quite a lot happening here today. Doing a lot of work on the truck, so we're replacing the rear axle. Bought another one that was being reclaimed from Thornton Breakers. So so we're just sorting out a few little bits on that before we install it. Got the new tyres and the new rims going on, so they're getting balanced outside by Home Tyre, which is a company that's local to me, and yeah, they come all the way to your house and they will do everything for you. And then we're also installing the 2-inch lift kit, which is a 2-inch lift kit from IRONMAN suspension, so thanks to West Coast Off-Road for that. Really looking forward to getting it all done. See you soon. Tyres are all done and balanced.
As Tom started to work, he had to drill out some seized bolts and re-tap them in preparation for the swap. Once this was done, we started to focus our attention onto removing the rear axle. This was to be changed along with the suspension, and organising upgrades and needed jobs to be done together saves a lot of time and effort in the long run.
Tom's got the first shock off. Not even returning, is it? It's pretty bad.
Creeping, isn't it? Creeping.
Literally a millimetre a second.
The new ones will be like shh.
The IRONMAN suspension had come with new 5-in-1 leaf springs for the rear that would be installed with new and longer shocks, greasable shackles and poly bushes. These would be a massive improvement on the stock leaves and raise the rear about 2 inches. And swapping these components whilst doing the axle makes sense, as they have to be removed to do the work.
Postman delivered the extended brake lines just in the nick of time.
Oh sweet mate, that one's all come undone.
It's all come and done right, yeah?
I decided to install extended brake lines also to replace both the aged and original ones, and the extended length would allow full articulation whilst on the trail. This could be deemed as a bit overkill, but I'd rather have that than a drama whilst out one day. Tom started to work on removing all of the components holding on the axle, and kept working on drilling and retapping those essential fixings for the ABS lines and such. Whilst he was cracking on with that, I got my hands on a small dolly with wheels to move the axles around on, saving both of our backs.
Almost ready to drop the axle now, eh?
Pretty much, man. I was going to drop it when the spring's on, but I don't think I can do that because the exhaust.
No, that's fair. Take a bit of weight out of it anyway.
That's it.
We got the rear axle off. Car is pretty hollow now. Nice work, Tom. Wheeled it straight off on this. So we've got the two rear axles now. So we've got the old one and the new one. The old axle here, and Tom's just finishing the brakes on the new one, which I've now painted black as well with a heat-proof paint. Looks really nice, and the brake drums are also drying in the background there. New master cylinders and ABS sensors.
Seeing the IRONMAN kit fully laid out, ready to start, was pretty exciting, and I'd been imagining this day for such a long time. It was good to see it really come to life. The poly bushes supplied required a small amount of grease put through the moving areas around the pins, and dry fit in the leaves and the shackles themselves. The shackles are filled with grease through the nipples and then installed. Seeing the first elements of the suspension go on the truck was really exciting, and it was good to get the heavy bits, like the leaf springs, done first. Tom's general knowledge about all aspects of the suspension and vehicle was really valued at this point. Things like the handbrake line had to be tucked just perfectly out the way, and the U-bolts tightened equally to allow alignment to be precise.
Good, isn't it?
Like drill. Make sure the same sort of amount of threads coming out the bottom of the bolt.
Yep. Just so it's equal distance up.
Yeah, because you can tie it more one side than the other if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Some beefy looking springs though, aren't they?
Nice looking kit, mate, on it.
Hey guys, you can see obviously the truck's coming along heaps and bounds. We've got the rear axle on now and the rear suspension. Light is starting to drop. I know it doesn't look like it on camera, but this has got really good low light capabilities. But yeah, the front suspension is going to go on now, and then obviously the new tyres. So really excited, looking forward to it loads. And yeah, I'll try and get as much footage as possible. See you soon.
The original brake lines unfortunately had seized ends. Tom's skills and knowledge came to the rescue again, fully fixing the issue by cutting and reflanging, allowing us to progress.
Yeah, definitely. That was a bit of a nightmare. Ended up having to take the whole steel brake line out, didn't you?
So to cut a bit of the brake line off there. Yeah, and then we'll reflange it with the new unit.
Nice. So what are you doing here exactly?
Reflanging the brake pipe.
So it's a steel pipe, isn't it?
Compress it in this one quickly.
Good test fit. And they only thread in about halfway, don't they?
Yeah.
Bit silly, really.
Yeah, there was a bit of water shit in there.
Yeah.
There you are. Definitely flanged the brake pipe.
Nice. That's amazing work, dude. For the middle of the night. So as you can see, guys, just working under spotlights here. It's getting pretty dark. You can see I've painted the rear axle with the heat resistant paint. Putting on the new extended brake lines. So these are the new extended brake lines for the rear. They're from 4x4 Expo.
It was coming to the end of the evening, but there were a few more little tasks that we were keen to get done and give us an easier ride the next day. We bled the rear brake lines with the newly extended lines and started to work on the rear shock to get the back in a safe and almost finished state, leaving just the front and the transmission switches for the next day.
We'll put some brake fluid in to bleed it.
Yeah. We're going to lose some, aren't we?
Yeah.
Should do shock absorbers until the vehicle is lowered to the ground, so don't tighten them until it's lowered. With the exception of upper strut mounts, which must be tightened before installing.
Yeah, we can't actually put that on there till that.
Okay. So we have to maybe put the top on and then lower the vehicle and put the bottom on.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll just jack the axle up to it. Does it say anything about grease?
Leaving the axle to drain overnight would mean that all of the older fluid have the opportunity to escape, and it can be filled with LS80W90 fluid as recommended by Nissan.
So hey guys, it's day 2 of the suspension and work to the car, or to the Navara. So Tom is already under there doing the handbrake cable. We actually sorted out all the diff oil last night, drained it out, so going to sort all that, the transmission and the front suspension today. Awesome. Try and get this. Okay. Oh, that's thick old oil, mate.
Oh, that's what you want, right? Just like when it starts to get tight, like another like quarter of a turn
Okay.
to half a turn, and they're perfect, mate.
Awesome. Got the LSD oil, which is LS80W90.
Bit of degreaser, I guess.
Yeah, try and break it up before we wash it.
So I'm just putting the oil all the way in until it reaches the level.
Bottle 2.
The diff oil is now full. Probably a bit hard for you to see. It's just level there, you can see it roughing. Just for the top of the bottom of the drain plug. Another job done.
While I'd been busy filling up the rear diff, Tom had been tackling the front end, removing the wheels and preparing the shock absorbers and coils to be removed. This meant disconnecting the roll bar and moving it from the lower arm to gain some access for leverage if needed.
Bit of clunking coming out of that.
Yeah, there's some creaking at the front end for sure.
The original bushings were in a terrible state, and I'm sure just replacing those would have made a massive difference to the drive itself. The new shocks were an extremely tight fit due to the extended length, but with a bit of persuasion and care they went in undamaged, leaving just the brake lines and tyres to go on for that side to be complete. Having the front shock now in place, it just left the brake system to be sorted. The extended brake lines could be attached, and the whole system bled.
keep it all clean, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you 4x4 Expo for those. Join the club.
Something always happens.
There's another ratchet line.
I won't seize up.
For it to bleed.
Yeah.
We've lost half the fluid in the caliper because the pipe bolts are halfway in, so half the fluid's drained out.
Okay.
So let's wait for it to come through and then we'll bleed it properly.
Perfect.
I'll stamp on the pedal and open and close the valve.
And this again was where it was really handy to have someone who knew exactly what they were doing on the ball, so I could sit and get instructions from the driver's seat to do it properly.
Yes, easing at the bottom. Firm. It's getting much firmer. Brilliant. So all happy with that brake? So that's a Toyo all-terrain 255-65-17, and that is a 265-70-17 Bighorn mud terrain. So yeah, looking forward to getting this on. Obviously the truck's already got them on at the rear. Looks mean. So front hopefully will be good.
This was the exciting bit, seeing it all come down, one side being completely done.
You can see the play in it.
Oh my god. So if you're getting some front knocking and horrible squeaking from the front end, it's probably the front shock rear bushing.
The same approach was taken with the other side, roll bar off, shock out, new one in and brake lines swapped. This was all starting to become familiar, and the little tips picked up along the way from Tom will be invaluable for any running repairs I may need in the future.
Second coils in then, Tom.
Nearly, mate.
Just got to put this into the bottom bushing. So car is on its all 4 tyres now. Tom's just doing the diff drain plug, and then we're going to work on the transfer box quickly. Switch ASSI, switch 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive neutral position, and then this one is the 4-wheel drive position switch. Neutral position switch, that's it.
The last task was the transfer box. Being the main 4-wheel drive component in the car, I wanted to give it a bit of TLC, changing the fluid, installing a new seal with modified drip which prevents water ingress into the box itself and can cause issues engaging and disengaging the system. I'd noticed some intermittency with it and wanted to address it before it amounted to anything more sinister. The 3 switches can be found under the transfer case and should be switched together if you're having similar issues. They're cheap and easy to install, needing just a socket set.
Sweet, it's fairly clean.
Definitely should have more in it than.
Yeah, that was like a cup full, wasn't it? So that's what it says to fill it up with.
Having changed the switches, all it now took was to take off the prop shaft and replace the dust cover, swap out the relevant seals, and then refill with transmission fluid, and we could call it a job done.
Yeah, we're good. Perfect. All done now, eh, Tom?
That's all good.
Yeah, thanks ever so much.
Look how high it is.
I know, it's actually crazy.
You're gonna need a step ladder to get in it.
I think so. Yeah, there's plenty of room to work under it now, isn't there? No, good work. Thanks ever so much, mate.
Well, that's alright,
I
man.
appreciate that, buddy. Right, on to the next task, I guess. Give it a test run. So I've now had the tracking done and the alignment for the vehicle. It's not pulling at all in any direction. The suspension feels really good, so I'll do a little bit of drive with you on camera to show you just how it feels, maybe do a bit of off-roading. But you can see that we're pretty much back in. The only thing that I was explained to was just because of the offset of the wheels, that this reading here will be slightly off, just due to how far the wheels come out, because it's not adjustable on my vehicle. Brilliant.
Having had all the tracking and alignment completed, I was happy to take the truck out on the road and experiment with the new setup. It felt tall, and man was I stoked to finally have the truck of my dreams starting to come together. I hope you enjoyed this part of the process, and if you're undertaking a similar project, let me know what it is down in the comment section below, because I'd love to know what you're working on. Next time, I take the truck out for a test run, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled. But more importantly, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.